I'm 5 weeks pregnant. On my birthday, my husband, trying to cheer up his crush Anna, pulled my chair out from under me. Made me look ridiculous in front of everyone. Anna laughed through her tears. Despite the sharp pain in my stomach, I angrily threw the entire table's worth of food at him and Anna's faces. He accused me instead. Why ruin a perfectly good birthday atmosphere? Apologize to Anna. Oscar said this while gripping my hand tightly, as if he wouldn't let me out of that room unless I apologized. Everyone around comforted the crying Anna, while also blaming me. Yet Isabella, Anna was feeling down. We were just joking around to cheer her up. After all, it's your birthday. Was it necessary to take it so seriously? I was both angry and in pain, holding back tears, grabbed a chair nearby and swung it at the group. The chair hit the dining table. Anna got hit in the face with a hot dish, screamed, and Oscar immediately rushed over to check on her. Then he glared at me angrily. Isabella, everyone was here for your birthday. It was just a joke. What's wrong with you? I replied, just joking around, right? Why are you so serious? Anna stood by looking pale, trying to hold back tears. Oscar, maybe Isabella just doesn't like me. I shouldn't have come. I'll leave. Of course, Oscar wasn't going to let her leave. He stopped her. Why would you leave? She's the one who should go. He pulled me roughly over. Isabella, even if you don't like Anna, can't you read the room? Apologize to Anna. It seemed like nothing would resolve until I apologized. My ears were ringing, head spinning from anger. I felt like hitting him with a chair, but my stomach hurt too much. Before I could say anything, someone shouted, Oscar, your wife's leg is covered in blood. Only then did everyone notice the blood on my leg. Because I wore a red dress, no one realized what was happening at first. Oscar froze, seeing the blood on my leg and the floor. He was blank for a moment. What happened? Are you feeling unwell? How are you bleeding? At the mention of blood, I only then felt the warmth on my leg. At first, I thought it was just soup splattered on me and didn't pay attention. But in that moment I felt a wave of panic. Because I suddenly realized, my period was a week late, and the thought scared me. Take me to the hospital, quick. When we got to the hospital, the doctor's words were heartbreaking. A severe miscarriage due to significant bleeding, surgery needed immediately. I felt like everything went black. I struggled with infertility, making it very hard to conceive. But Oscar loved kids so much. I spent this past year undergoing numerous treatments to get pregnant. My arms already bruised badly from injections. Drinking Chinese medicine made me want to puke. Enduring disappointment and heartache from not conceiving time after time. Relatives and friends advised me to give up. Yet whenever I saw Oscar holding someone else's child, filled with joy, I pushed on. I desperately wanted to share a love child with Oscar. But I never imagined learning about this would also mean losing him. The doctor was understandably furious. Who just pulls out a chair like that? Some have ended up paralyzed for life over such jokes. You're her husband. Don't you realize how serious this is? Oscar didn't expect his joke to result in such a serious outcome either. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were pregnant. I was just trying to make Anna feel better at the time. You know, she and I grew up together. It was merely some fun. I didn't mean for this to happen. But what does Anna's mood have to do with me? Why should I be her entertainment? Plus, Anna had pursued him before, and he never mentioned it to me. I wanted to yell at him, but the pain kept words from coming out as the doctors wheeled me into surgery. During the procedure, feeling the machines work inside me, taking away the fetus piece by piece, my heart felt like it was being torn apart by the machine too. I thought back to just now, Oscar demanding I apologize to Anna. I couldn't stop replaying every detail of our time together, only to realize everything had been foreseen. I've been with Oscar for 10 years, married 5. We started when both had nothing. He was poor, I was poor. But he always offered everything he could like it was a sacrifice. In high school, though we had nothing, he secretly folded 1,000 stars for me, letting me make 1,000 wishes. Fought others recklessly when I got bullied. Then hugged me, eyes red. Isabella, don't worry. I'll never let anyone hurt you. When others mocked my worn shoes, he worked strenuously to preserve my fragile pride, then laughed, ran his fingers through my hair. Girls should look pretty, don't worry. Whatever others have, you will too. Then I bombed my college entrance exams, He performed exceptionally, spanning 2 cities. Yet treated me even better than before. Because he said, that's how I would feel his love. I had a rough family background. Whenever I was troubled, without a word, he sensed my mood with just a call. Then forsook meals, couldn't sleep, took a long night train to my city. Told me, it doesn't matter if your parents favor your sister, I'll love you instead. Over the years, he always prioritized my feelings. His phone constantly available 24/7 for me. Said, love is like nurturing a flower. I want you to be the most beautiful, most vibrant one in the world. Yet somehow from 3 months ago, since Anna joined his company, he began working late, neglecting my calls. At home too, he often stared at his phone and laughed. Sometimes he gets home really late at night. And even then, he's always got this annoyed look on his face. We live together, but when I'm feeling down and go to him, his first response isn't comfort. It's annoyance. He starts caring about other people's feelings more than mine. Like just because Anna got embarrassed by a client today, feeling all disgraced, and she asked him, am I really that bad? I feel like I always embarrass myself in front of everyone. Unlike Isabella, who always keeps it classy. Oscar wanted to humiliate me in front of everyone on my birthday. At that moment, I didn't know what hurt more, the surgery or Oscar's betrayal. After the surgery, Oscar stayed by my bedside, but I gave him the cold shoulder. Get out. Once I'm discharged, we're getting a divorce. Oscar frowned. Can you stop being ridiculous? We lost the child, I'm hurting too. And you want a divorce over this little thing? He really thought I was being childish, that it was a trivial matter. He never considered what I sacrificed for this child. I was so mad I couldn't think straight. I didn't even want to talk to him. I just called the cops. Oscar's face changed instantly. Isabella, are you really gonna make this whole thing so ugly? That's when I realized clearly, Oscar really didn't care about me anymore. Turns out love and indifference are so obvious. The guy who used to talk about nurturing love like a flower now says things that hurt me repeatedly. He even accuses me in front of everyone, putting me to shame. I closed my eyes, trying hard not to lose my cool. Oscar saw this and started apologizing. I really didn't know you were pregnant, Isabella. I know you're upset, and I'm not feeling great either. Don't worry, we can still have more kids. You think having babies is something you can just plan like that? I can't wrap my head around how someone who used to love me so much can be this careless. Doesn't he know how much this baby meant? If you like Anna, go for it, but why hurt me instead? Oscar got real pissed off, almost like I hit a nerve. Don't accuse me of nonsense. There's nothing between me and her. It was my mistake to hurt you. But Isabella, this is between us. Anna's got nothing to do with it. She's had a tough life with no parents loving her. Don't drag her into this, she's innocent. At this point, he was more worried about me dragging Anna into it. Like he was scared I'd hurt her even a little bit. But just because she doesn't have parents loving her, does it mean I do? I hardly ever lost my temper with Oscar. But now, I couldn't help but yell at him. Get out. Once I'm out, we're divorcing. I won't let you get away with this. See you in court. Seeing my distress, Oscar eventually left. If he stayed, I'd be filled with hate. But when he left, I felt torn between hatred and sadness. Lying on the bed, tears kept rolling down. Losing our child was painful, along with Oscar's betrayal. I couldn't help but feel hurt, wronged, and angry. In the last 10 years, I've been through so much with Oscar. In those early days, our love was so naive and pure. During college, we were in different places. But despite the distance, we fought to be together, overcoming countless obstacles. We always put each other's feelings first. Even when miles apart, I never felt the distance. When I was down, he'd immediately come to be with me, always traveling standing, over 10 hours at times. But when I went to see him, he always bought me a seated ticket. During our 4 years of college, we collected over 500 train tickets together. When we first started our careers, neither of us had money, but he turned our cheap rental into a cozy home. He'd make a dreamy castle with cheap LED lights, and tell me we'd have a nice home and a happy family in the future. Every time he realized a wish, he'd say it was like watering a flower. And now, even though we're so close, I feel incredibly distant. I still love him, but even though we have everything, I no longer feel his love. Because if you don't love, you can ignore someone's feelings and pain. I don't know when I fell asleep, but when I woke up, Oscar was there beside me texting. I glanced at his phone and saw he was messaging Anna. I caught a glimpse of him typing babe. Those words pierced through me. Whatever she said next, he was about to reply when he sensed my gaze and quickly put his phone away. You're awake? I'll call the doctor. Who were you texting? Anna. No one. Oscar frowned, and he jumped to counter me even before I said anything. Can you stop bringing Anna into everything? He let our child die for Anna, yet I couldn't even mention her. If you care so much for her, go be with her. But I'm not letting this go easy. And soon I couldn't keep calm anymore. Because I found out that while I was asleep, Oscar, to stop me from blowing things up, told the cops I slipped accidentally. He even called my parents to write a letter of understanding. My parents called me, telling me I was being unreasonable, to calm down and stop causing drama with Oscar. I was so furious my chest hurt. In the following days, I ignored Oscar and told him to leave, but he stayed in the hospital room, occasionally glancing at his phone and going outside to take calls secretly, almost made me feel like he hadn't changed his heart. But I knew it was all just an illusion. Every time I saw him looking down at his phone, busy chatting, or stepping out to make a call, I'd wonder who he was speaking with. I tried hard not to let my mind wander, but my heart was out of control. Eventually, I couldn't resist and checked his phone. Seeing their chat history and her social media made everything clear. On those days he ignored my calls, he was with Anna. He claimed he was working late, but he was actually having candlelight dinners with her. He said he was on a business trip, but he was off traveling with her. He even learned about makeup to impress her, planned romantic birthday surprises, and almost got carried away during her birthday. But he eventually held back. Anna questioned him about it. He told her she'd forever be his untouchable boundary, his irreplaceable treasure. Seeing the word treasure on his phone stirred something in me. She's the treasure, but what about me? What am I? I don't even know how I processed it all. I just knew I had to get a divorce. Unexpectedly, before I formally brought it up, I ran into Oscar and Anna at my hospital room's door after using the restroom. They stood close. As I was about to approach, I overheard Anna ask, "Is Isabella still blaming you for this and refuses to talk?" I paused at the corner, my steps coming to a halt. Oscar replied, "She's still upset, a bit irrational. Don't mind her." Anna stood there, looking vulnerable and slightly aggrieved, tugging at Oscar's hand. "When she threw things and cut you like this, she didn't even care. She even called the police. Are you just going to let her cause a scene? Even on your birthday, isn't she your wife? In front of everyone, she showed no regard for you. Was she always like this?" Oscar responded with a simple HM, looking at her pale hands before finally pulling his hand away. "She's not considerate like you, always thinking of others." I almost laughed out loud. What a pair of considerate cheaters. Wasn't Anna afraid of embarrassment? Then I'll make sure she gets plenty. Before Anna could say more, I stormed over, yanked her hair, slapped her across the face, and shoved my shoe into her mouth. "So you're considerate? Considerate enough to be with someone else's husband, huh? What nonsense are you spouting here? They obviously didn't expect me to do that." Anna's face changed instantly. "Isabella." Oscar jumped to detach me from Anna. "What are you doing?" But I held on to Anna's hair, making her face everyone. "Hey everyone, look here. This pair of cheaters are messing around even after causing a miscarriage. And she dares call me inconsiderate. In this hospital, it's either those expecting or who've miscarried. Women hate cheating husbands and mistresses the most." Crowds gathered around, some taking out their phones to record. Oscar panicked. "Isabella, do you know what you're doing? I told you, I have nothing to do with her." Anna tried to struggle, so I slapped her hard again. "No relationship. Then why's she blaming me? You caused my miscarriage, and she tells you I don't understand you?" I looked at Anna and shoved the restroom-soiled shoe back into her mouth. This made Anna almost vomit. I shoved her face toward the camera. "You're considerate, right? Do you get why I'm doing this to you? Let's not hide the face. Let the world see what kind of trash this modern-day mistress is. You and my husband made me miscarry, yet I'm the bad wife? What, you sleep together, and I should tuck you in so you wouldn't catch a cold to be a good wife." Oscar couldn't stand seeing Anna treated that way, his face darkening as he tried to pull me off. Isabella, can you stop? Every time I hear the word stop, I just want to smack him. But before he could touch me, others blocked him, commenting, "Your wife lost her child. And this shameless woman dares come to your wife's hospital door. Isn't she disgusting? Yeah, your wife lost the baby, and you're defending someone else? Everyone, start recording to show the world this disgraceful pair." Anna's face went pale immediately. In the end, she had her hair pulled out by me, and Oscar half dragged her away. I stood there, watching Oscar's back without stopping him. The video of me slapping Anna and forcing the dirty shoe into her mouth went viral quickly. It fueled netizen outrage. How shameless must you be to visit another's hospitalized wife and blame her? Amazing she wasn't killed. That was satisfying. Now let's see how she faces people. He's defending this loose woman? Your wife's pregnant, and she's causing a scene? Hate these boundary-lacking cheaters. Not cheating, just friends? Your wife miscarried, you jerk. And this mistress, stirring trouble at the hospital room? Innocent my ass. I sent these videos to the group chat Oscar and Anna shared. After he found out, Oscar's face turned grim as he called me. Isabella, take it down now. I won't. You want to drive her to suicide? Isabella, she's not like you. You have everything now. Even in sadness, people cheer you up. She worked so hard to get where she is today, and you're trying to ruin her completely, right? You want to make life unbearable for us too, huh? It's just laughable that he still thought I would continue this with him. And really, what's different between my past and hers? She had it tough, but wasn't it just as hard for me? My parents never cared about my feelings. In their eyes, my brother was always the most important. As a kid, I did all the housework, and asking them for school money was like asking for their life. But then, they'd find a way to get money to buy my brother clothes and toys. Whenever my brother and I fought, they'd smack me first and then blame me. He knows exactly how hard I worked for what I have today together with him. So why should I be burdened with her misery? I handed him divorce papers straight up. As soon as Oscar saw the papers, his face changed. I won't divorce you, Isabella, he said. We've been together over a decade. I've worked so hard for you, for this family. You're really gonna divorce over something this small? I just thought it was ridiculous. I knew he didn't want a divorce not because he still loved me, but because the sunk costs over the years were too much. Plus, he hadn't completely moved on with Anna, and maybe his feelings for me weren't entirely gone either. I was the one who took care of his mom when she was sick. He needed someone like me. I stared at him. For me? That's why you wouldn't pick up my calls? For me? That's why you pulled out my chair on my birthday, causing me to miscarry, and then blamed me for it. And then during my miscarriage, stood outside my hospital room siding against me with Anna? Do you know how I felt when you protected her that day? Don't discuss me anymore. Losing the baby is no big deal to you. But it wasn't to me. If you think it's a small matter, maybe I should find someone who's better for you. I found a college sophomore and brought him to Oscar's company. Oscar's company was named after both of us. He originally named it that to give me a sense of security, and our shares were exactly equal back then. The deeper the past love, the harsher the current hurt. When I arrived, Anna was in Oscar's office. Oscar comforted her. You don't need to worry. It's not your fault. Everyone knows what kind of person you are. She hadn't left yet. I opened the office door and sneered. Yeah, no big deal as long as you have thick skin and lack shame. Anna saw me and instinctively hid behind Oscar, eyes getting teary. Isabella, you misunderstand me. Oscar shielded her, his voice cold. Isabella. Even though I had planned to divorce Oscar, this instinctive action of his still pained me. But then he saw the guy, Gary, standing behind me. Oscar shot up. Who's this? Why'd you bring him here? You said I didn't understand you, right? I smirked. Well, isn't he here to understand you? Oscar went pale, either from anger or whatever else. Do you really need to do this? People in the company started to notice something was up. I used to work there, but I left temporarily to care for Oscar's mom after it came out she was being abused by a caretaker. If not for that, I would have never left the company. I smiled. This has nothing to do with Gary. I just hired him for some work. He's already miserable enough. Stop dragging him into this, will you? I ignored Oscar, taking Gary to my office. But funny enough, what I couldn't bear was happening to me. Oscar grabbed Gary, ready to fight. I slapped Oscar across the face. Can you stop already? We're in the company. Do you really want to make this awkward for everyone? Anna approached Oscar, looking at both of us with restraint. Isabella, you're going too far. Oscar's loved you so much for so many years, and you're treating him like this? I clutched her hair and pushed her toward the door. All right, Oscar says everyone knows what you're like. Well, let's hear it. I think maybe they don't. What do you have to say? I want to see just how shameless you are. You claim you're not the other woman. But despite my insults, you're still here playing the victim. What a pitiful kind of slut are you? Oscar rushed to help her, but Gary blocked him. Brother-in-law, you guys are going too far. My sister says she brought me here for you. She treats you well. How can you do this to her with an outsider? Oscar looked at him and forcefully shut his eyes. Let's talk. So we went aside to talk. Oscar asked, what do you really want? A divorce, I said coldly. And I want more than half the shares of this company. Not gonna happen. Then we'll just see. Over the following days, I went everywhere with Gary. Strangely enough, before this, Oscar was always busy. Always on a trip, busy with work or meetups, never available for my calls. But since Gary showed up at the company, Oscar suddenly had plenty of time to shadow me. He started caring about everything I did. Even on his birthday, when Gary and I almost kissed in the company, Oscar seemed either furious or pained and nearly lashed out. Gary looked at me all upset. Sister, I'm in so much pain. Looking at Oscar's more severe injuries, I accused him. Gary and I are completely innocent. Gary's just feeling down, and I wanted to cheer him up. It's your birthday after all. Is it necessary to be so serious? Oscar's eyes were red. He looked like he was in the deepest pain. Don't do this. Nothing happened between Anna and me. I didn't betray you. Can we just get back together? I chuckled and threw all the printed chats between him and Anna at him. When you say nothing happened, do you mean you didn't have feelings for her? Or that you didn't get physical? Oscar looked at the chat records, his face turned pale. But I wasn't gonna let him off easy. Do you think you're some kind of hero? Proud you stuck to your supposed morals? I stuck to my principles too, so why are you upset now? Oscar, you haven't even gone through trying for a baby, pregnancy, and miscarriage. It's only been a few days, and you can't handle it. Yet you expect me to understand you. Does that sound funny to you? Oscar finally broke and agreed to the divorce. It's true. You only really feel the pain when it happens to you. Even as he agreed to the divorce, I saw his shamelessness. If we're getting divorced, you'll leave with nothing. That's when I realized how nasty a man can get when it comes to divorce and money. No matter how much pain or love he pretends to have, he turns into a monster. I won't leave with nothing. Plus, I've already sued you for causing my miscarriage. I'm pressing charges for assault. Don't think I'll just stop because you got my parents to sign some agreement. When it comes to the divorce, I'll take it to court. This company has my shares. I stared at him. As for Anna, I'll have someone follow her wherever she goes. Let everyone know what she really is. After saying that, I plastered their chat all over the company and online. Even sent a copy to his mom in the hospital. Seeing this, Oscar was furious. You're just trying to tear this family apart for money, giving me false charges. It was him ignoring my feelings, always defending Anna, pushing me to this point. But he blamed everything on me, saying I was the one trying to destroy the family for money, that I'm the one acting crazy when I'm the one hurt and wanting a divorce. I knew what he was trying. He wanted to make me feel petty, so I wouldn't talk about money. Don't gaslight me. Yeah, I love money. Since you don't care about it, give it all to me. Or while I sue you, we'll go our separate ways for real. With that said, I took Gary and walked out of the office. Finally, I officially divorced Oscar. He handed over more than half the assets during the divorce. I sued and got back everything he'd given to Anna. It was our joint property. For this, Oscar didn't fight me. But he couldn't let go. That thing with him, was it just to get back at me? You two never had anything, right? Of course, I didn't tell him. I wanted him to always wonder. If it makes you feel better, then there's nothing. Whatever you want to believe. As we left the civil office, Oscar was silent for a long time, then said sorry. When it was time to part, he started confessing. He said he never wanted anything serious with Anna. In the beginning, he just thought she was pitiful, like a fragile doll, always needing someone to care for her. Kind of like how I used to be. Made him feel worried and protective. Unlike me, always so strong, decisive, unyielding. When he realized he was getting too attached to Anna, he tried to control it. We went on trips, so he could remind himself I was the one he loved, and he needed to cut ties with her. But on Anna's birthday they got drunk, and things almost went too far. From that day, it was like he was addicted, scared I'd find out, yet couldn't stop being drawn to her. She looked at him like he was her everything, made him feel special. Unlike me, who never backed down or acted weak. He kept wanting to reach out to her, yet feared hurting me. On my birthday he didn't even know why, but he chose her side, like he was under a spell, not seeing my pain. He claimed he wasn't really fighting for assets, just didn't want the divorce, was afraid of it. He said he truly loved me, couldn't let me go. He asked, "Do we really end everything we've built like this? Can't we start over?" I found it amusing. "Can't let me go? Yet you hurt me?" The moment you sided with her, causing me to lose our child, there was no going back. He gave a bitter smile, a hint of defiance. "You always seem so composed, like you could drop me anytime, like you never really cared." Am I composed? Not at all. In the hospital, I cried night after night. But he was too focused on Anna to see my tears and pain. He might have forgotten I used to be soft too. Until we failed in business, when he was humiliated, and I stood up for him. Only then did I start becoming strong and brave. For him, I gave my heart, as if offering everything up. And maybe he didn't realize, even when faced with divorce, he wanted to blame it on me. Claimed my personality was why things turned out this way. After over a decade of love, I lost everything. You think I'd let him walk away unscathed? Oscar, do you even get it? You're disgusting. You say she was like the old me. Why did I change from that soft person into who I am now? It was because when you had debts, you got beat up, and I stood up for you. When you failed in business, I was right there backing you up. I valued you more than my own life. But what did you do? When I had a miscarriage, you were standing in front of Anna. I've completely moved out of our home. There are just too many places in this city filled with sad memories. So as soon as I got the divorce papers, I sold all the shares I had to your competitor. I blocked all your numbers and moved to another city. Even though I'm not keeping track of Oscar anymore, we spent over 10 years together, and we have so many mutual friends. I've heard from friends that he's been searching for me everywhere. He even managed to bump into me once. But at that time, Gary was with me. Gary's been pursuing me lately. After going through everything with Oscar, I've learned to not take love and forever too seriously. And I've learned to cut my losses. But I'm also not saying no to love. Oscar was in pain for a long time. He asked me softly, "Do you love him?" For now I do. He's so young. There's no way it'll last with him. And how do you know he's not just after your money? You're older, and look, it didn't last with you either. You didn't want my money, you wanted my life. Oscar stayed silent for a long time. The next time I heard news about Oscar, it was about him marrying Anna. And his reason? She looks a lot like I used to. When I heard that, I felt nothing but disgust. Soon after, I heard they're not doing well. Anna got videoed, and her chats leaked online. Wherever she goes, people talk, making Oscar lose face. He stopped taking her out. Anna became super paranoid. At first, Oscar tried to comfort her. But he got tired after it happened too often, especially with his business struggles. He started comparing her to me, thinking she's just acting sad, and is useless in his career. Their conflicts kept growing. Oscar started avoiding home. He'd compulsively look at my and Gary's social media. His phone and computer were filled with our pictures. Even their home was a constant reminder of our past. Anna got insecure. She called me multiple times, "Stop clinging to Oscar." That's when I realized Oscar had visited my city more than once. I remembered hearing he'd been here recently. Laughing, I said, "He was just in my bed yesterday. How does it feel seeing your husband with someone else?" And then I hung up. Anna lost it, almost fought Oscar. Later, she got pregnant. If Oscar came home late, she'd freak out and call him incessantly. One time, Oscar was drunk at a bar and met someone who looked a lot like me. He nearly ended up in bed with her. Anna caught them in time. Anna and Oscar had a massive fight, and she attacked the woman. Oscar defended her and accidentally pushed Anna down the stairs. By the time Anna reached the hospital, she'd lost the baby, and the injuries left her unable to have children forever. Her mental state completely shattered. When she found Oscar still in touch with that woman, she lashed out with revenge. She went to his parents, trashed our old home. One night, while he slept, she took a huge risk and with scissors, did something that made it impossible for him to be a normal man again. I started getting late-night calls from a blocked number. I realized it was Oscar. Just when I was about to hang up, I heard his raspy voice say, "Don't hang up." And then he cried. Maybe it was at this moment he truly felt regret, felt devastated. He sobbed, saying, "Isabella, I really regret it. If only I'd never strayed from the path, never put her first, we'd have a cute kid now, a son or a daughter. The child would call us mom and dad, be cute and clingy. But I know he's only regretting now because of his misfortunes. If he'd been happy with Anna, he wouldn't have thought about the child we lost. After all, when the baby was gone, he told me more than once that I made a fuss over nothing. There are no ifs." I coldly interrupted him. "You destroyed it all. You made it so that you can never have a child of your own again. Don't call me anymore." And his pain was just beginning. Because in the future I might get married again, have children. Every twist in my life will stab at his heart over and over. And he'll always be bitter about it. The happier I become, the more he'll suffer. Because all of this should have been his. I hung up and blocked his number again. His life is over, but mine is just starting.